Hi, welcome. Today I would like to discuss how you can add Redux to React Native. So let's get started. Basically, what I have is an app component which I'm using as a test. And if you would look at it, it basically has a view. And within that view, there are a few views just to show this area where you have the different color stripes, and then I have the test component. And if you go to the test component, you can see the test component is essentially rendering a touchable opacity, so I can press on it, and when you press on it, it goes to on press and sets the local state counter and increments that, and this is all working. So if I do like this, you can see it is all working. So the thing is, we want to convert this into using Redux. So if you want to just look at the hierarchy, you can actually look at the React Native debugger also. So the hierarchy is the app has a view, and within that view I have this other view and the test. And the test component area is essentially shown to be in green here. So let's see how we can convert it into Redux. So the easy way to look at it is that I need some packages here, and I am going to basically install the Redux and React Redux. So I've already installed that, so I don't need to do that. And let's just go through the process of what changes I need to make, and I'll show you what changes is. First step is basically we already talked about, is to hook up index.js, and I have already prepared these changes, so I will show you how to make the change. Wherever you register your component, you want to change this, and I will go over what has been changed. Uh, so if you already know React, this is pretty straightforward. We are doing the compose enhancer, so we can use the Redux DevTool extensions, and then we create a store and which takes an argument for all reducers. And I created a component, a functional component, which is taking a provider and giving it a store as a property and wrapping my app in there. And here, instead of calling the app, we are calling wrap Redux. So if you want to look in source tree, you can look at these changes as well. So it will be pretty clear. So if you look at index.js, we deleted this and we added all these changes, which are pretty standard Redux. The only other change is to make sure it's a Redux component and you call it like this, similar to this. So that's step one. Let's try the step two. Is basically what I want to do is show you the reducers that I've set up. They're very simple. So we can quick look at that. So reducer is essentially getting an action with a type add count, and it is a payload is just a number one, so it just increments the state. So that's all there is. In actions, it's actually pretty straightforward. It's just returning a type and payload one. So that's it for it. Now what we want to do is change my test.js component here that we were using initially without Redux, and we want to use Redux. So let me just copy some code, paste, so we can see this working. So let me just type it in here. And I'm going to go into test.js and change all of that. And I'll walk you through this in a second. And the last thing we need to do is to make sure we can default connect, so it can be all hooked up. So let me show you in source tree these changes so it is easy to see. So if you look at test.js, basically what I've done is I've imported connect, and then we all have a standard Redux function map state to props. So what I'm doing here is taking a state.cnt and mapping it to a property called counter. And here, instead of just a default class test being exported, I'm exporting connect, and we are mapping state to props and maps dispatch to props. And dispatch to props is essentially taking that increment counter function and creating a normal function called increment. So once you do that, what you all need to do is change this so that way we have the right properties. So if you look at my properties, I don't need to do this thing anymore. So I would remove that. We actually also don't need this on press method, but we need to have this new method that is being used on the properties. So we would just call this dot props dot increment, the new method. And for the properties for the state, we had mapped it to counter, so we need to use that. And this is pretty standard Redux, so it's not really anything specific to React. And that's all, actually all the changes I need to make in this file. So we can go back in here and reload my code again, see what it does. Just bear it with me a second. Oh, it says the React is not defined at wrap Redux. So let's just take a quick look at index.js. Oh yeah, so I don't see that React is being imported. So let's just do that. And let's give it a try again here. And while it is loading, let's just give it a minute. Okay, so you see it is actually now doing fine. And I'm going to hit the counter here a few times. And if you can look in the React Native Debugger, and you can see that you got those two events, the two counters. And actually you can look at the action, which is what we expected. We can look at the state, and we can also see the diff. So this is actually pretty easy to add to React Native Redux, and also monitor in the React Native Debugger. So I'm going to put this video under React Native, for example, React Native with Redux. So thank you for watching this short screencast, and you have a great day.